Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be taking a look at all of the final zone pass openings for the first 9 KvK groups that are comprised of the Gen 1 kingdoms in Season of Strife Dragonfall. So I'm going to show you all the pass opening times, and then I'm going to show you some recent data that was pulled a couple days ago from January 10th, and show you how some of those matchups are going to be looking from at least some recent-ish data, so you can kind of get an idea on how the numbers look going into the final zone for each of the teams. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw this up because it helps out a lot. Also, big shout out to my boy Fuzzy. Again, he's the one who does our data bot. My buddy Passan, he's the one who makes my thumbnails. If you'd like to get more information on any of them, links to their Discord servers in the pinned comment description down below. So the first group we have here is SoS 3-1. This is Pay to Win Kong versus GGREC. There's Echo RK going up against EAS BXS. And their pass is going to be opening at around estimated 9:43 a.m. Eastern time. So as of now, that's like 11 hours or so. Next group we have is SoS 3-2. Their pass is opening at about 9:03 a.m. Eastern time. So we're almost about 10 hours-ish or so from recording. Again, alliances in here, DBB, IMG, SSG versus NA, OHO, Tank, YBD. Then there's Law, LTS versus BD, WGL. Then we have SoS 3-3. Pass opening here is going to be around 8:32. So as of recording this, it's probably about 10 hours, 9.5, give or take, on the 15th. And again, sorry, alliances here, TC, WTF, MN, NTS, they're going up against POSK, NF57. Again, this is based just on Zone 2. And then RFF, HXV, Gen, and I guess I could probably just go through these because I'm going to show you guys the matchups anyways. For SoS 3-4, we got around 12:05 p.m. Eastern time on the 15th. For SoS 3-5, and I guess to give you an idea, as of recording right now, that's probably going to be about 13 hours or so. It is SoS 3-5. We have around 3:45 p.m. So you're talking 12, maybe 16, 17 hours from now. This one will be opening up. And then we got SoS 3-6. This is around 12:32. So you're talking maybe 14 hours or so from now. Then we get SoS 3-7. This is going to be around 1 a.m. Eastern on the 16th. So you're looking at a day in about 2 hours or a day in 1 hour and 15 minutes from now. SoS 3-8, they're going to be opening up at about 3:57 p.m. tomorrow. So as of recording, you're probably looking at around, 12, 17 hours or so from now. SoS 3-9, the last one, passes are going to be opening estimated at 7 a.m. Eastern. So you're looking at a day in about 9 hours, a day in 8.5 hours or so from now. And that goes overall. Now, let's take a look at some numbers. So for what we have here, we have the numbers that were pulled post Brink of War, Greatest Heights. I believe so for what I have. It was either that or it was pre-Brink of War, Greatest Heights. I can't recall sometimes. Let me see, what do we have here? Let's go to the top. 8744. Okay, good. Okay, whew, thankfully, that's what I thought it was. So we got post Brink of War Greatest Heights pulled, and then you can see some of the number differentials here that we have. Now, keep in mind, some of these will be lower. For example, like Power is probably just going to be the most obvious one because you would expect that to be lower based on the overall amount of fighting. So again, for the RK Echo GG REC side, and then we have Kong EAS BXS PTW. Right, so you can see here, as of a couple days ago, they were at 78.82. They've probably already done some healing since then over the past couple days, as I would imagine most of the groups have, preparing for the FC fight. You can see 74.147 or 17 billion, and then amount of merits that have been accumulated thus far this season. Right, you got about 3.48 billion to 3.49 billion, so very close. Right, you got a 4.42% of total power, 4.71% of total power that's been accumulated thus far, and that's for the group as a whole. When we look at kills, you see 221, right? So you got a 7.17 billion more kills since before any fighting started up until now. You have 82.19 million deads that have been accumulated so far, and then you have 6.98 billion heals. And then on the other side here, you're looking at 3.7 billion kills, 61.37 million deads, and 5.99 billion heals that have been accumulated so far. When we look at the BDO DBB SSG group, WGL versus NALA WLTS YBD, we're looking at, again, 81.87. So you have 3.31 billion merits that have been accumulated, 3.07 billion merits that have been accumulated on the other side, so about 4%, 3.95%. Kills, you're looking at 10.9 billion more kills versus 8.8 billion more kills, which again would make sense given some more merits. Dead, 65.61 million dead versus 60.85 million dead, and then heals 9.6 to 9.07. When we look at the Gen NTS MMRFF, and then they're going up against TC, POTC, WTF, and NF57, we have 2.37 billion merits versus 2.16. That's about 3% or 3.05, and then 2.78 or 2.8% of current power. And then we have a 6.28 billion more kills, 5.17 billion more kills, which again, you can see that is being reflected appropriately based on merits. And then we have 36.38 million more deads versus we have 1.14 million more deads. Now, some of these numbers are, and as an example here, when we get to something like the heals, right, 6.77 billion, but then we have negative 0.58 billion. Some of the numbers here, and I want to point out, I've already asked Fuzzy about this. Part of me is iffy on if this is the data, on if this is the data collection itself, because a couple things that stand out to me is, one, maybe some players potentially went inactive. Right, because you have to keep in mind that the data pool is pulling from all players that have a city that have a city in the kingdom, right? And so with that in mind, you could have some players that have gone inactive and then those numbers have been erased overall from the kingdom. You also have a situation where you could have players that have gone from a KvK and then went back to the home kingdom, or they went from the home kingdom and then back to the KvK season. So that could potentially be something that could be skewing some of the data that way. The other thing is that some people might have just migrated out, right? If there's any kingdoms that are in pre-war, which again, I totally forgot to check before the update hit because the update's going on right now as of me recording this, otherwise I would show you. But if there are any kingdoms in pre-war, you could have had some people that migrated out during their migration window for those pre-war kingdoms, and that could be factoring as well. So those are the three things that come to mind, but just, again, I wanted to at least state that for transparency's sake, that some of the numbers, if they're small or if they're negative, I have already reached out to Fuzzy just to ask if there could be something that might be impacting it on that front. But if there's not, then those to me I think are the reasons. However, this can be potentially, I guess, lightly verified if reaching out to any of the alliances or kingdoms in those KvKs and asking, like, hey, have you guys had anyone that has gone inactive? Have you had anyone that has migrated out? And then again, if you're someone who's watching this and you feel like maybe you've seen this yourself or you've noticed some of these numbers on our end for anyone that is doing individual kingdom data collecting and pulling, I'd love to know if, did you come to a similar conclusion or no, you know what, maybe you think there's just like some variance there that's being applied, because it very well could be. But hopefully I'll get an answer for that. On the next group, we have here is RKT, Laws, FG, Dawn against FSK, AXT, HOUW, and SJT. So here we have 1.99 billion merits, around 2.91% for total power, 2.18 billion for the other team, and that's about 3.35% accumulated so far. Kills, we get about 2.83 billion kills that have been accumulated. Here, we actually have negative 3.3 billion kills. Now, this very much gives me more of an indicator, and I even double-checked the numbers for the stats that I received. And this very much kind of feels like one of those three situations potentially that could have played out. We got 28.16 million deads, 23.46 million deads, right, a little bit more aligned there. 2.94 billion heals. This is 0.08 billion heals. Now, this number seems a little bit low to me too as well. So again, that's one of the reasons why I asked. And then we get into some of the other groups. We have INWA, INW4, MOD, FU, ANCS, RNW, SURA, and then we have 54, UDF, AVIC, 3TL, NXW, and MAD. Now here, we got 1.15 billion merits. Again, now we're getting into the CDs. So these numbers are probably going to be lower on average. And we look at 1.15 billion merits accumulated versus 1.06 billion merits, right? That's 2.34% or 2.09%. We look at kills, 5.17, 3.36. Maybe you would think this might be a little bit more, but I guess it also depends on the amount or the tier as well for the merits that you're accumulating, along with any other factors. For deads, it's actually negative 6 mil, and then negative almost 14.5 mil. And then on heals, it's 4.09 billion, 1.32 billion. I mean, this seems a little bit more aligned. So again, right, hopefully I'll get an answer and figure out kind of where the negatives are coming in from. I feel like maybe it is one of those logical things, but maybe it's just something that needs a little bit more of an investigation. SLR, SVR, OGC, L2NV, SHP, and WT versus MFD, Riven, Lossy, MBH, LOC, and JKL. Here, we got 1.03 billion merits that have been accumulated versus 1.24. That's 2.16 to 1.9%, right, based on the current power. And then we have kills, negative 1.16 billion versus 5.83 billion. And then on deads, it's 35.92 negative million, up against negative 3.43 million on the deads. Heals, negative 5.4, but on the heals for the other side, we have 2.29 billion increase. When we look at RR, Gray, BOM, CFR, A, TDS, DTF versus MT, VP22, Mojo, KL7, K282, and Meat, we have a billion merits up versus 1.28 billion merits that have been accumulated so far, 3.98 billion kills to 2.93 billion kills, 25.37 million deads to 11.05 million deads, 3.73 billion heals to 2.85 billion heals, right? So again, a little bit more aligned there. And then we have BBO, Horde, DK, Ghost, Scent, HOGW, and FVP-VH, Chubb, DAU, RR84, and PTKG. We got 1.19 billion merits, 1.13 billion merits. That's 2.21% for current power versus 1.93% for current power. Kills, 4.48 billion gained versus 3.3 billion gained. Dead, 17.01 million versus 25.68 million deads. 2.6 billion to 3.86 billion heals when we look at the comparisons there. And I think this is one of the last groups. SGW, WAN, and UST 377S. I should have said 377S. O2A, RE06, LSL, SIG, Guns, 50W, Dusk, MEEP, VNWE, and YM30. We got 271 million merits to 115 million merits, right? So 0.68, 0.40. Here we have negative 0.15 kills to negative 0.75 kills. Deads 3.07 million negative to negative 13.76 million. And then we have 0.47 billion heals to negative 1.6 billion heals on that side. And that does it for what we got so far. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, I think pass openings is great, just being able to kind of know when those are going to be happening for groups that you're interested in watching for the PvP that'll be conducted there, along with being able to see how some of the numbers look, especially when you're kind of leading up to the FZ. And what we hope, because I really think this is going to be a big testament. I think the idea is we want to see great PvP. We want to see long-lasting PvP, and we want to see mostly open field PvP in the final zone. They've updated the final zone a couple times now, and for whatever reason, I think the layout does keep getting better and better. And this is really, I think, this is the first time that we have had a KvK map where every single starting zone 1 has had an opportunity to make it to the final zone. And I really hope this will serve as a good first draft template and trial run to show, for the community to show out and for the developers to see that making map variations where you allow as many kingdoms and as many players and as many alliances to be able to get to the final zone as possible, even if you can still get invaded on the way back, right? Once the final zone opens, and then, you give it a little bit of time, and then you can open up the passes kind of, it's almost like a U-turn, right, that you're doing, is really the way to go. And it is one way to do it, I should say, but it is a great way to do it, I believe. And so, again, I'm looking very forward. I think tomorrow, over the next 2 days, we should be hopefully seeing a lot of action And I, for one, will be excited to watch at least as much as I'm able to, and I hope you are as well. So let me know in the comments below, what matchup are you looking most forward to? Who are you going to be tuning into? And then again, what do you think about some of the numbers for how things are looking, at least a couple days out from going in? And yeah, that's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch y'all later.